What is going on? What is going on? Charles Botensten here. Let's just move this in and let's just talk about fear for a second. So I'm watching this incredible symbolism on YouTube and it's called Storytellers. So Storytellers is the name of the YouTube channel. And essentially it goes over the Dark Knight trilogy, which I have not seen. I'm not a movie person. However, in this Storytellers channel, he takes a movie and he essentially brings Joseph Campbell into all areas of the movie. So all areas of pretty much any good movie has an awakening, a moment that you either take a fear, you take an insecurity, you take something that has been bothering you. What's going on, Chris? How we doing? You take something and you either do something or you don't do something with that, okay? What would be a fear or an insecurity about someone that is a bodybuilder? Most bodybuilders are actually short people. And the reason that they're bodybuilders is because they're making up for an insecurity of being picked on when they're younger. A lot of people that are wealthy came from nothing, okay? I think it's 60% or 65% of all millionaires actually built their wealth and was not given their wealth. I think it's actually higher. And most billionaires, they built it as well. And the reason being, it has nothing to do with anything, Jeff Bezos, yes, he came from something. Bill Gates, yes, he came from something. Mark Zuckerberg, yes, came from something. But there's a lot of millionaires that they actually, some of them, there was a Jerry Jones interview many years ago, and it was under the 60 Minutes. And his biggest insecurity, because he grew up dirt poor, dirt literally means the flooring in your house and or the road you grew up on. So he grew up in Texas, his road was dirt, so he grew up dirt poor. That's where it comes from. Raining cats and dogs. Do you know where that comes from? Just as a side note, it's when most people, when they slept in barns, the cats would go up in the rafters, and when it would rain, the rafters would become slippery, and then they would fall off and they would land on the people. So they would say it's raining cats and dogs. Some dogs would go up there, but it was mainly cats. This is what I'm getting at, is that behind Joseph Campbell, any kind of symbolism has something that they fear. And in this symbolism, if you did not care about it, there's no fear behind it. There's no fear of me playing an instrument on stage because I don't really care about it. So the first basis to any fear is that you care about it. That is the most intense feeling you have behind fear, is that you actually care about it. People that don't work out and want to get in shape, if they have no fear about going to the gym, waking up early, eating correctly, and they don't care about it, they just live their life. There's plenty of people that just live their life and they could care less about it. And by the way, this fear is something, the more intense it is, the more you care about it, the deeper the fear. And as they mentioned in the trilogy, I'm literally watching, I'm 12 minutes in. If you actually want to go to the video, it's 12 minutes into symbolism within the Dark Knight. He says that Wayne, I think is his name, Batman is his name. Batman needed to drench. He used this word, such a good word. He needed to drench himself in fear. And if you know the story of Batman, he's afraid of bats because of his childhood. Because during that time, he was running throughout, fell into this deep well, and bats came out, and then he became fearful of that. So as he grew older, I'm literally getting the chills thinking about this. He had to, for his awakening, as Joseph Campbell talks about, is that you actually have to go through the journey, which is whatever it is, the symbolism of your fear, if it's public speaking, if it's talking to someone that you actually want to do business with, if it's approaching pretty girls, if it's making YouTube videos, if it's making a lot of money, if it's getting into a relationship, get out of a relationship, having tough conversation or not. Whatever you fear, there's a journey behind it. So first, you have to discover what it is and acknowledge that. So for Bruce Wayne, he had to acknowledge that he has a fear of bats. What is your fear? That is the light side. Again, if he did not care about saving Gotham City, if he didn't care, so he had to go out by himself. That is part of the journey. You have to go out. You have to leave the comfort of your home or the comfort of your company or the comfort of your family or the comfort of wherever you're staying. Go out on the hero's journey to discover, and as they say in the video, drench yourself in the fear. That is the light side, because you actually care about the fear. You actually care about it. Because if you didn't care about it, you wouldn't have fear about it. You wouldn't have any fear. I have no fear about ice skating or bike riding or triathlons or swimming in open water. I have no I care about it, but I have no fear behind it. My biggest fear is not living up to my highest potential. I have a fear behind still approaching pretty girls. I have a fear of, I used to, of making calls, but I had to drench myself in the fear. It is Labor Day weekend here in America. So living up to so I'll give you those three things right there, okay? And when I hear something like that, it actually all really makes sense. As you go down to become the best version of yourself, which is a man. I'll just sidetrack for a second. I was talking with this girl, and essentially there's just, I can only talk for men, okay? Fear of giving the attractive girl your wrong phone number, punching it in correctly. I actually did call my number, but my phone did not, my actual phone app does not work, ironically enough. It shows one, even though I don't have any missed calls or voicemails, and then I had a missed call, whatever. But I am texting with her. I have no plans of going out yet. We haven't broached that subject. However, approaching people on a regular basis is something that I really care about. And the reason being is that I know that if I want to get married, if I want to have kids, if I want to go down that path, and I don't want to go online, I actually have to approach people that could potentially be someone I go out on a date with. That could potentially be someone I date with and then blah, blah, blah. Making sales calls. The reason that I had a fear behind it is because I thought social media was it. I thought and I'll give you this. I was watching Gary Vaynerchuk today. It popped up on my YouTube recommends. So I was like, all right, I'll watch it. So I was watching it at like 2.5 times the speed on YouTube to get through it. It was his latest keynote. It was in Melbourne, Australia. I think it was Melbourne or Auckland. And I just remember there was just a line in there that it talked about technology. And the technology, he's like, listen, we're going to do it anyway. And it's not a big deal that if people are at the dinner table and they're not communicating, no, dude, no. The future is mental health. The future is drenching yourself in the fear. It is not to put up barriers around someone. It is not a safe space, as Jordan Peterson talks about it. It is not coddling. It is not making it easier. You give someone money, you teach them that is how they get money. It's a baby crying. A baby cries, knows it's going to get attention. Then it's probably going to get food. So the baby then cries. It's the same thing for adolescents or adults. And then you take that into your life and you say, well, if I complain, if I'm dramatic, I'll get all this attention. Or you teach someone that says, here's an idea. You want to make money? This is how you make money. This is how you actually get over your fear of flying, whatever the case is. So the other is not living up to my potential. So I have a fear of not living up to my potential, as David Goggins talks about, meeting your creator, whether you believe in that or not, that's not the point. It's you meet your side by side. Who you are and who you are supposed to be should be in alignment. I have a fear behind that because for 24 years of my life, I was not living anywhere near my potential. I was actually living the opposite. I was living a terrible life, very bad. And one day that will all come out. It's pretty much all out, how I lived. And then on top of that, it's the fear of, I don't know if it's the fear of success. I'm still trying to pinpoint it. Maybe it's, and I'll leave you with this. So, I forgot who actually said it. It was such a brilliant statement because we don't like the struggle. Nobody likes the struggle. Nobody. The struggle is you're falling on your face because you're saying the wrong things. Everyone's hanging up on you. You're not making the money you want. You don't have the attention on your social media that you want. You're not getting paid for your public speeches. By the way, all those things are me. However, this is the funny thing. Every successful entrepreneur has said this, is that when they get to the point, Amazon, Bezos, whatever the case is, what's his name has said this. That's why he likes starting new companies. Elon Musk, he goes, maintaining a company, he said, is not exciting to him. Okay? Hell on earth is the last day you meet the person you could have been. Yes, that is exactly what Goggins was referring to. So maintaining a company or maintaining the status quo, that's why Bezos is always pushing forward, because that's the fun part. Same thing with Musk. The reason he loves to create new companies is that's the fun part to them, not maintaining a company. They like building. That's the fun. That's why for me, it's looking at someone who just recently said this. They say, okay, here's the idea. I want to give you everything that you want. You're now 15 years older. You have grinded through all that. And with the snap of my finger, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you everything you want. You want the money? You want the followers? You want everything? You ready? Boom. 15 years have passed. You don't know the struggle, but you have everything. You have the skills for it. Guess what? Most people don't like that. He said he actually talks, it's going to kill me. It was someone in real estate. He said he actually talks with people who miss the tough things, the hard days, the days of struggle, the days where you actually said, I don't know where my next listing is going to come from, where my next appointment is going to come from. Okay? I was, and then I'll leave you guys with this, even though I've probably just said that 3 times. I was watching there's a race in, I think it's in Norway, I think it is. It's called the Norseman, okay? Let's just think about the lineage, okay? So for the men that potentially complain or start drama, just look at the lineage that you have come down. At multiple times of your grandfathers and older, they were probably at war multiple times in their life. Okay? That's the hardest part, is to fall in love with the grind. What's going on, Frank? Hope all is well. And there's something called the Norseman. Okay, the Norseman is one of the hardest triathlons in the world. You swim for over 2 miles, which is over an hour, in freezing cold temperatures. You're wearing a headgear, full everything, thicker wetsuit, gloves, booties. You jump off the back of a ferry that's about 30 feet high into frigid waters. You swim over 2 miles, 2.4 miles, which is really far, by the way, onto a bike that you climb straight up a mountain for 112 miles on a bike, and then you run directly up another mountain to one of the highest peaks that people take hours to climb. You run up that, which is, by the way, 26.2 miles, which is a marathon. Guess what he said at the end of the video? It was the best time of his life. It's the best time of his life. That's what I'm going to leave you guys on, folks. The hardest part is the fear. His video, it's an 18-minute video about his journey and how he was shitting his pants, to that was the hardest thing. He cried at the top of the mountain, which almost brought me to tears, because you saw him just so scared, going through the belly of the beast for 17 minutes. He was talking about the mental capacity that he didn't want to go on. That is going and drenching yourself in the fear, loving the grind, as Frank said. And then at the end, it was the greatest thing that I've ever done. What the fuck? You just murdered yourself. Literally, it took him almost 12 hours. It took him almost 12 hours. Limitless really was, yes. Someone brought that up. Limitless. I highly, highly recommend you check out Storytellers. It's a YouTube channel, and there's a couple about masculinity and a lot of movies. Actually, they bring up Limitless in there. That was one of their videos that Richard Lackner and Masculinity, and then Keanu Reeves, The Peaceful Warrior, to be creative, unleash your unconscious, blah, blah, blah. Go check out the stories thing. So that is essentially the light side of fear. The dark side is all we focus on. I'm not going to be able to make it. I don't want to do it. I fear rejection. What if I don't do it? What if it fails? It's going to be public. I'm not where I want to be. But you care about it enough that it's a fear. And then the light side is you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it, and you will say it is the best time that you've ever had was building the company. The best race that I've ever done by a triathlete. This is a professional triathlete. The best race I've ever done because he struggled the most. That is why we're here. That's why we're here. To struggle, to become the best version of ourselves. That is what the Romans said. The daimon. Okay? Daimon is becoming the best version of yourself. Aristotle has talked about this, God, how many times in his books. You know, that's it for this weekend. And then just when you feel that your emotions and your feelings take over, broken man because he retired after selling his company, has lost his mojo when he tried to come back. Yes. That is why Mike Ferry, who is a coach in real estate, said on his second most recent video, people call him the dinosaur. They call him he's 74 years old, and he talks about prospecting, and everyone nails him. Social media, bro. Video, bro. You got to hire a content person. And he goes, okay, great. I invented the scripts that everyone uses. I have millions of views on all of my videos. The top agents use me. And by the way, everyone that I've talked to that goes in the top 10% of every company uses prospecting as their main source of business. So what is he talking about? He said in his second to last video, all of his friends and all of his mentors are not here anymore. And then he talks about his friends, and he said, all of his friends look like they're living boring lives. And his exact words were, my legacy and my calling is not finished. He's 74. He's smart enough to know that there's no point in retiring. You lose just like Frank said, you lose your mojo and then you're fucked. You're fucked. Do you really want to get there? snap your fingers. You got everything. This guy's got the money. He's got the fame. He's got millions of views. He does retreats and it's 5,000 people in his audience. Is it really the following? Is it really the money? Or is it time at that point? So enjoy the struggle. Enjoy the journey. When my office is a 12 foot by 10 foot or 15 foot by 10 foot place, this is a green screen. Maybe I'm going to have a green wall in the future. And that's why I love symbolism. Because these are people that are way smarter than us, and it has nothing to do with anything but the story behind it, okay? Cain and Abel. Watch Jordan Peterson's newest video. I think it was Cain killed Abel. Yeah, Cain killed Abel. Cain, say that was it. Cain was jealous of his brother. He wanted to be him. He killed him. And then he was exiled. Do you understand? That's like killing the best version of yourself. You're killing your ideal. And then you live in exile. If you essentially stop doing what you're called to do, you are living in imprisonment. You're living in mental imprisonment. You are now living in exile. It's not a physical place. This is a story. Maybe back then when he killed his brother, probably it was exile. Okay, it would be prison today. But now, if you kill off your ideal self, if you kill off the goals and the dreams that you have, you are essentially cutting off your ideal self and putting yourself in purgatory. You're putting yourself in mental imprisonment. That is essentially the worst place you can be. That is the worst place where you say, there is no way out. Fixed mindset, as Carol Dweck talks about in her mindset book. Yes, there are growth mindsets that are bad. I see them all the time with people that go to Tony Robbins events all the time. And as Gary Vaynerchuk, as much as I didn't like his video, and I'm still not going to follow him because he's pushing social media, and that is not good, okay? He's pushing the cell phone. Well, we're going to do it anyway. No, dude. Do you not see a correlation? Do you not see the studies? They not. But he said something very interesting today. He said there's a lot of people that talk offensively. They talk, their talk or their speech is offense, but everything they do is defense. That's a lot of Tony Robbins followers. They talk a huge game, and then they play defensively. And that is imprisonment. It should be the other way around, where you do so much in real life, people want to seek you out online to follow you. Look at all the actors and actresses and all the business owners that have millions of followers, but they don't post at all because they're too busy doing. They're trying to live into their best version of yourself. If you really want to look at a couple of people, you look at The Rock. The Rock in the last 10 years has exploded because he's pushing himself outside of all these areas. What's his name? Edward Norton just put out a video. It took him, I think, 15 years to produce. Will Smith. He's having someone following him around on a vlog. Listen, I don't know what content they're creating, but they say, you know what? If social media is here, I'm going to do it because I already have the team. I already have the money. I'm going to put myself out there. And then he started doing creative series and everything else. He's in a creative aspect. He has to do that. He's an entertainer. For me, to become the best version of myself, to feel that I actually deserve it, I actually have to do it. I actually have to do it. It's the same thing for us. I have to drench myself in fear. And it is not easy. And I'm not saying that I have it, but actually understanding it is not about talking. It is only about saying, I have a fear about this. This is the step I can and should and need to take. It's going to be really hard, which is going out into the forest by yourself to, as what Bruce Wayne did, is he felt the fear and he did it anyway, which is an amazing book by, what's her name? Dr. Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Felt the fear, did it anyway, and now he's going to go back and do Gotham. But you are literally seeing him from his fear, which was a child at 5, and now Bruce Wayne at age 40 or 45 or 50, however old he is in the movie. That's a long time. Did he really want to snap his fingers and go to that time without actually experiencing that time? That struggle is what he's going to appreciate. So that's my comments. So for me, I know exactly what I need to do. I am drenched is a strong word. For me, I know it's 1%. I've told Eric, the guy that actually makes calls with me. I have a call with someone else that really wants to get on board at the company. He's like, I'll do whatever it takes. Great. Okay. But that's, again, words. That's words of offense. But defense is essentially where most people are playing. And I'm sick and tired of seeing that on social media, because I know a lot of these people personally that have public figure as their status. I'm friends with them, 25, 30,000. You guys don't know who they are because they're, local people here in New York City, but they're fitness people, and they talk about all of this stuff they're doing, but I know them. They're not doing that. And it's not going to hurt them now, but it's going to hurt them sooner or later, where they actually say one word. I'm full of shit. I'm a fraud. Maybe they'll say it, maybe they won't say it. But I want to be the opposite of a fraud. I want to say, not look at me, woe is me, things like that. I want to be the opposite of the fraud, where I literally say, I want to go to the belly of the beast before I start talking about the belly of the beast. All these coaches and things like that. I want to be the person that says, I created all of my business from the ground up, and it was not easy. It was not given to me. People are going to see me in 10 years and be like, I don't know who this Charles Botensten person is. Yeah, it was the guy that said it was going out on 3 areas that I want to focus on in the next 6 months. I've talked about the goals. You don't have to have 3 areas. 3 areas is a lot. So number 1 is approaching pretty girls. Okay? I don't do that as regularly, but my number 2 is making daily prospecting, essentially cold calls, and having a power dialer. And number 3 is bringing on someone else. In other words, relinquishing control, which is going to be really hard. But there's no one successful, and everyone that is successful says at one time you have to do that. So for me, I have to do that, where I give them the framework and then they do it their own way. That's the hard part. That is the hard part. And I'm making a magazine and in that magazine, it's going to clients. In that magazine, I have my goals and my future for BPI. And it's essentially being transparent and saying this is where we want to go, and we hope that you can bring us there. And we're going to be relying on our clients and obviously prospecting calls. So I implore you today, you cannot have any devices around. I literally sit in silence. There's a great movie out there. I saw the trailer for it. There's actually another book out. There's 2 books out there on silence. I cannot implore you enough. Someone actually, James Whippier on Instagram, I don't know who he is, but he follows the videos. He sent me a phone, or it's a Kickstarter that's coming out in a month. It's a phone that does not connect to the internet. It's a global phone, goes off of a satellite, and essentially has only text messaging and calls, and that is it. There is no web browser. Maybe there is a web browser, I don't know. I didn't look into it enough, but that's essentially my flip phone concept, I actually have my business plan up, and in there, so here's my business plan right here. That's for the month of everything else. But in there, I have no phone. I want to get to no phone Q4 right here. You can't really see it, but it says no phone Q4 2021. I want no phone. Okay? Maybe I'll have a flip phone, but I don't want to have a phone. Okay? Because our best creative times and the best ideas that we have are in silence for an extended period of time. And that means days, okay? I don't mean no phone for days, but essentially that means that you're thinking about a problem or you're thinking about an area that you want to change and you meditate on that, okay? I call it praying. And it's not like God give me the gift or universe give me the gift, but I call meditating essentially, it could be silence, but I call praying on it where I'm like, you have the idea, you have the concept, and you're thinking, okay, what do I, and it's not traditional prayer, but what do I need to do around this aspect? Okay, how do I get in front of clients? Okay, let's bring up the magazine. How do I make more money? I need to prospect more, okay? In 12 years, I want to be married, or in 15 years, I want to have a kid. What do I need to do now? How do I ensure in 8 years, when most people fucking wake up and they say, I want to be married, by the way, they reach 42 and they say, I want to be married. Or they're 39. A lot of my female friends are 100% there, okay? They live in New York City, which is obviously concrete and metal and glass, and that is it. Yeah, there's Central Park, but nobody goes there, okay? And there's some grass other places. But it's concrete, it's the concrete jungle, as Jay-Z has talked about it. So in other words, it's not like LA or Arizona or Florida where you just go to the beach or you just go hiking in a mountain and there's fresh air and things like that. So all these women, sometimes men, not really, not as many, but a lot of my girlfriends, they hit 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. And then they say, what am I doing? I'm in New York City, I'm not married, so then they get a dog. They get a dog, and then all of their attention is surrounding this dog. But that's not actually going to the belly of the beast. That's not actually going in drenching themselves in fear. They're not actually going out on the hero's journey. They're essentially imprisoning themselves with a physical object. Wow, that's powerful. How many times have you seen, I just finished whatever, I don't know, give me a TV series, Game of Thrones, okay? I just finished Game of Thrones. Give me another one. I have all weekend to watch TV. What? That hurts when I see that. So that's really powerful. So we actually can physically put ourselves into an asylum, which was the Cain and Abel story, where he killed off the best version of herself. You can imprison yourself mentally and say, I'm never going to change. I can't change. This is how it's always going to be, which is a fixed mindset. And the one that I just thought of right now, live on this, is essentially saying you buy something, a car, a house, a dog, maybe, I don't know, TV, a phone, something that occupies the time or the space that is necessary to go and feel your fear and do it anyway. So instead of going out and meeting men, instead of saying, I'm going to join a club, a run club, a book club, a climbing club, I'm going to join something, a gym, maybe I'm going to take my headphones out. Instead of saying that and going into the fear of maybe asking a guy out, I'll talk about the impact. Instead of feeling the fear of doing something like what I would just talk about, joining a book club or putting yourself out there or taking your headphones out there or asking guys out or maybe DMing or writing a message. These are beautiful women, by the way. Beautiful, very stunning women. Probably 7.75 to 8 in New York City, which outside of New York City, maybe in New Jersey or Long Island, would probably be like an 8.5 or an 8.75. And instead of doing that, they buy a dog. Or instead of that, they indulge in alcohol. Or instead of doing that, they binge on Netflix. So those are 3 areas, okay? Just when you're talking about New York being a concrete jungle and no greenery, think about that. Yeah, I've thought about that. Someone actually brought that up 5 years ago about the air quality and everything else. And I would say, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know if it's the air quality, because there's a lot of, I would say the worst thing about New York City would be the lack of vitamin D. And probably and there is a huge study that came out about ionization. In other words, you de-ionize. In other words, all these lights on, you're getting bad. You need a certain type of positive ions, okay? When you're out in nature, you get that, and your body needs that, okay? And essentially, when you're surrounded by fluorescent lights, they're producing negative ions, okay? And negative ions, obviously, are negative. They're bad. And surrounding yourself with bad negative ions, I don't think the air quality in New York City is really that bad. It could be. I have no idea. But there's also just that mental health aspect, which is there is no greenery at all. Literally, if I turn this around, that's all buildings. It is literally 40, 50-story buildings all around me. I don't know. I love it. So most people don't, though. Most people don't. The one thing that I do not like, and you're seeing this, and again, I'm going to bring up the mental health. I'll probably write more Instagram posts about it, and then I want to finish this video, go home, because I have a long ride tomorrow, and I need to carb up on it, carb up tonight. But there's a lot more people that I'm seeing that are drugged out in New York City, and unfortunately, that's not good. Okay? That's not good, because that is the mental health aspect, essentially, at play. Mental health is either food, it is taking a gun and killing people. I'm not even going to get into that, but it's also drugging yourself up. It's overeating, overindulging, overpartying, whatever the case is. It's the mental health. It's the people that don't want to sit in silence. It's the people that don't want to go down into their demons. It's the people that don't want to go on the hero's journey. It's because it's hard. It's not easy. All right? So have an amazing day. Talk to you guys soon. And of course, if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. I'll probably go live tomorrow before actually